know you personally have a unique connection with Coach Pardee because not only did you call his games with the Oilers, but you also work with his son, Ted, on the Cougar broadcast. What comes to mind first when you hear Jack Pardee's name? What do you think of when you think of Jack?
One of the most decent human beings you will ever meet and that I ever had the privilege of meeting. Small town guy, very unassuming, but very authoritative, and far more authoritative, as we talked about a little bit earlier, than you may have seen portrayed in the NFL Films feature on the 1993 season. And, he took a lot of flack. You recall, why doesn't Jack wear a headset? And why doesn't he know what's going on? Believe me, Jack knew every single stitch of what was going on in a ball game. And to give you an example, and it doesn't come from the Oiler days, it came from David Klingler, who was my partner on U of H broadcast before Ted came involved. And Jack was the head coach of the Houston Cougars in 1989, the year Andre Ware won the Heisman Trophy. But it was also when SMU was first getting back into football after getting the death penalty back in the 80s. And there was a huge discrepancy in talent, as you may imagine, and the game wound up, I believe, it was played in Dallas, and I think the final score was 95-21. And one of the things that his offensive coordinator, John Jenkins, wanted to do, he wanted that 100-point game. And Andre had long left the game in like the third quarter, and David Klingler was the quarterback for most of the second half, and they're just going up and down the field against SMU. And John Jenkins was smart enough to stay away from Jack Pardee because Jack Pardee and then SMU coach Forrest Gregg were longtime friends from their NFL playing days. And there's no way that Jack was trying to embarrass or show up Forrest Gregg. But the score kept getting higher and higher and higher, and John Jenkins kept trying to stay away from Jack Pardee. And Klingler told me that there was one point they're talking about what plays they're going to run. He wants this next drive to score so they can get to 100 points. And just from out of nowhere, from behind the two of them on their conversation, came this very strong voice saying, if you throw the football again, you're fired. So that should tell you that Jack was always aware of what was going on, and that was very much true of his Oiler days, whether he wore a headset or not. The man knew what was going on. The man knew football. The man knew how to coach football. The man knew how to treat his players. And he was one of the best guys I ever got a chance to meet and to work with. And I've been very blessed because those 4 years I had with the Oilers, after that I went back to Rice for 8 years, and Ken Hatfield had just started his run with the Owls at that time. And those two guys couldn't be two better gentlemen to work for, to represent your franchise or your institution, as the case may be, in whatever they're doing. And I'm very blessed to have worked with guys like that.
And it seems like it would take a lot of guts for an old school guy like Jack to embrace the run and shoot and Mouse Davis with the Gamblers, and then he took it to U of H and the Oilers. And really, I don't know about you, I feel like he changed football. I mean, it's a totally different game today because of what happened with the run and shoot, because I think that pretty much led to the spread offenses.
No, I don't think there's any question about that, Robert. I think you're exactly right on that. It was definitely revolutionary because, and so diametric from the game that Jack was a part of as a player, because back then you still ran the football on first down, ran the football on second down, you threw it on third down, and hoped you converted to keep the chains moving. That's how the game was back in the 60s and 70s, and that's how it was played. And to come up with this kind of wide-open style and four wide receivers, and like I said, it took so many people by surprise, and it was such a finely crafted passing machine. I just wish they would have had a better running component, because there's no question they had the athletes on both sides of the football to be the very best and to wear a Super Bowl ring on their fingers, and it's a shame that they never got the chance to do that.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.